You've applied to dozens of jobs, maybe hundreds. You're qualified, you've got recommendations, and nothing, just silence. Now, the fact is, your resume might be getting rejected by software before a hiring manager can ever see it, and it's not your fault. It's just how the system works, especially if you're over 50. Now, I've seen people who fix their resumes the right way and go from 0 responses to getting callbacks within just a couple of weeks. Now, this isn't magic, and it's not guaranteed, but the truth is, if your current resume isn't getting any responses, you're not just wasting applications, you're wasting time. Now, I've watched lots of talented people over 50 get ghosted. In fact, I've experienced that myself. And it's not because that they weren't qualified, it's because their resume was telling the software that scans the applications to just skip over them before they ever got to an interview. The fact is, Applicant Tracking Software, or ATS, can screen you out based on stuff like your graduation dates, your years of experience, and even the words that you use in your resume. So first things first here, let's talk about that resume for a second. It's not supposed to be your biography or proof of how hard you worked. Your resume really has only one job, just one, and that's to get you to a conversation with a human. That's it. Now, you can't fix age bias on a piece of paper, but you can do enough to get in front of a real person, and that's where you have a chance of getting hired. Here's the reality. Recruiters are looking at hundreds of resumes a day, so they're skimming those things in seconds. So if they come across a resume that looks a little bit bloated, it's a TLDR. Too long, didn't read, and so it gets ignored. Think of your resume like a movie trailer and not a feature-length film. So let your complete work history live on something like LinkedIn or your portfolio somewhere. And if they really want to get your whole story, well, they can easily find it there once they're interested. So exactly what am I talking about? What's helping other people get those callbacks? Well, it's simple. Focusing on outcomes, not on the length or the type of your experience. Now, most resumes are going to say something like, senior manager with 25 plus years of experience in diverse industries, demonstrating strong leadership, communication, and team building skills over an extensive career. See what I mean? Honestly, a few more sentences like that, and your eyes are going to start to glaze over. But instead, you want to do something like led a 12-person team to grow revenue by 23% in 18 months by restructuring pricing and client retention. That's the same person, just completely different impact. Those outcomes don't have to be some million-dollar metric. They could be something simple like, well, I handled 40 to 60 customer calls a day and I kept satisfaction scores above target. Or I trained 3 new team members and reduced onboarding time. Now, those are real outcomes. They're specific. They prove that you had more than a title and that you did something more than just sit in a chair somewhere. All right, now here's what most people miss. Now, you need to layer that outcome-first approach with some other changes as well. So first, you'll want to start with about 10 years of your work history, not because the rest doesn't matter, but because it's not going to help you right now. Think of it like this. The more of your work history you show, the more it starts to reveal how old you are. Next, you'll want to put your city and state on the resume. You don't need a full address on there. City and state, that's all you really need. That's all they need. Now, once you're hired, you can provide your full address. And if you're working remote, of course, that city-state thing is important because of your location can matter for time zones and how they pay you. Then, you don't need that big professional summary paragraph at the top either. Just let your title do the heavy lifting and you can explain what you did in bullet points beneath that. Next, you need to get rid of those meaningless, generic, corporate buzzwords. Like, for an example, leadership, communication, team player. Listen, everybody uses those. They mean nothing and it's just going to take up space. The only time you should use those type of terms is if you've actually got results, data that backs that up. Now, when it comes to your education section, well, just keep it simple. Don't put any dates. Just list 1 degree or 1 MBA if you have that. That's it. Just list the highest level, most relevant degree only. And for heaven's sake, skip putting down your high school. You're over 50 for crying out loud. And it's the same with certifications and awards. If it's not some credential that really mattered in your field, then just leave them off. Recruiters really just don't care. And make sure that you're focused on just one of your previous roles, maybe two if there was a real promotion in there. So basically, if it doesn't support this specific job that you're applying for, then it shouldn't go on your resume. Now, as for length, let's talk about that for a second. Here's the reality. For 95% of people over 50, your sweet spot is 1 to 2 pages max. Now, if you're truly at an executive or C-suite level, well, you might spill into a third page, but you better make sure that every single line is important. Here's something I get asked about almost constantly about using keywords to optimize for ATS. The fact is, if you don't match keywords in a job description, the system may never surface you. But if you cram your resume full of buzzwords, then even humans are just going to tune you out. A better resume never guarantees that you're going to get an interview, but I'm just giving you better odds to get in front of a human being. Think of it like this. If you've sent hundreds of applications and you've not heard anything back, the goal isn't to magically get hundreds of interviews. The goal is to turn 0 responses into at least some responses. Okay, look, I'm not saying this strategy is going to work like magic. The fact is some companies have already made up their minds before they ever open a resume. And some industries are just brutally tough. And some hiring managers, I don't care what you do, they're just not going to budge. Plus, some fields are simply more age-friendly than others. Healthcare, education, consulting, project-based work, that sort of thing, those types of jobs are going to value your experience more than others. So if you're hitting a wall in one niche, it might not be you. It might just be that specific niche that you're trying to get into. All right, so is this a silver bullet? No, but you need to use every advantage that you can. Your goal is to get to that conversation. Then you can let your experience do what it's designed to do. Now, if you're serious about making a real change in your second act, head over to my Career Change After 50 playlist. So I've got a bunch of videos over there that can really help you. I'll see you in the next one.